Hi, Dr. Michelle here with some more secrets of life and death. Today I want to talk about life makeover. I've been posting some interesting posts about women who have been transformed by makeup makeovers. And it's actually amazing how these women who look kind of drawn and worn out become these stunning beauties. Of course, whenever we women look beautiful, we feel more confident and we show up better. But it's really only skin deep. And what happens after you wash the makeup off and you wash your hair? Then you go back to being who you are, or you spend thousands of dollars on a makeover all the time. And what I have noticed is that if you look really, really closely into the eyes of those women, you can see that the makeover is really only skin deep. Now, the other kind of post I've been doing is seniors who are doing amazing things, like this amazing 91-year-old gymnast, or this woman who lifts these power weights, or a woman who is a trapeze artist, or a whole bunch of senior male models who look just stunning and gorgeous. And you might feel like, I don't know, ashamed. Like, where do they get the energy to do that when, you're having a hard time dragging yourself out of bed or getting the work done that you need to do? You say, well, how do they do that? And maybe you feel a little hopeless. Well, I invite you to think about this in a different way. Maybe they are running away from death. I can understand that. I just turned 70 this year. And suddenly, boy, that death headlight is really hitting me in the eyes. It's like I'm looking and I realize that I'm more than halfway through my life, although you never know. I mean, it seems like we live longer and longer. But longer is not enough. I also, hi, thank you for joining. I also want to live vitally and with purpose and with joy. So let's take a look at this a little bit differently. I invite you to think about makeover as a much deeper kind of makeover, a makeover in which you actually connect with who you truly are and what you are meant to be doing. I happen to believe, and that has been my experience in being a psychosocial coach, is that we come into this world brilliant, seeds ready to burst forth and become our brilliant selves, to fulfill our mission and purpose. But we are born into families that are imperfect, and we get sidetracked by our need to survive. We enter these bodies that have their own agenda, and we lose track of why we're here. We lose track of our brilliance. We learn to play small. We learn to play safe. And the world, the culture, supports us in that. Hold on, I want to check my notes and make sure I'm getting where I... Oh, right. So I wanted to say about the athletes that if you look closely in their eyes, are they trying to escape from death? And aren't they just like an injury away from falling down that rabbit hole of wondering why they're here? Is bodybuilding or being a great model, is that enough? Is that their true purpose? That's my point, is what is your true purpose? Why are you here? And wouldn't that be what really connects you to happiness, health, brilliance, joy? That's the makeover that I'm inviting you to consider, is a makeover that helps you to heal and eliminate the barriers to being truly and authentically yourself. So let me tell you a little bit more about what happens to us as children. We are born into families that are imperfect. Parents that are too overprotective, neglectful, overcritical, maybe violent, maybe neglectful. And children, the first 3 to 5 years, there's critical development going on in the child's brain, and they're developing their ability to think, and they're developing their emotions. And trauma, or even slight discomfort, can have a huge ramification for children. The London Journal of Primary Care did a review of the literature and said that those first 3 to 5 years are key. And it turns out that children, in fact, human beings, need more than just food, clothing, and shelter to feel safe, to grow, and to thrive. Children need love. They need attention. They need support. They need nurturance. They need touch. And when they don't get it, they develop patterns of behavior to keep them alive. So some of the patterns, and I've mentioned this in my other videos, are people-pleasing, where you put all your energy out into the world to get people to love you, and you figure out what it is they want and give it to them. Then there's performing, and that's what I'm seeing with a lot of those seniors, the woman who is like dancing the tango, and the woman who's doing the trapeze. These are all performance kinds of pleasing. They get a lot of attention, they feel great, but are they really living their purpose? Now, another pattern is perfecting, where you constantly go to school or you amass degrees, always trying to prove yourself. Now, if you come from a family that is chaotic or dangerous, you might be a controller. Or if you come from a family in which no matter what you do, you never succeed, you might become a rebel and actually seek disapproval, or you might become what I call a self-soother. So it's interesting that here we are, we've developed these patterns, they keep us safe, but they also keep us small. That's what happened to me. I grew up as a people pleaser, and it worked really, really good in school. Teachers love people pleasers. I got a Phi Beta Kappa, National Honor Society, one of 2 graduate students to get my PhD in my graduate class. But it holds you back. It holds you back from stepping into your brilliance. And there's actually pressure for you to step into your brilliance. And when you don't, you actually have to take action to tamp those emotions, those desires down. Did you know that 1 out of 6 Americans is on some kind of psychiatric drug, primarily tranquilizers and antidepressants? And that doesn't account for all those Americans who are self-soothing or self-medicating through drinking and drugs and overeating and computer games and workaholism. These are the ways in which we deny that natural impulse that comes from who we are, our brilliance, our mission and purpose. So let's say that you finally kind of break through that and you say, okay, I'm going to live my mission and purpose. And you make efforts to do that. Maybe you become a healer or a coach, or you start to write a book. So then I ask, are there ways in which you sabotage your success? Because those childhood patterns don't go away. That fear of rejection is still operating. Maybe you were taught that you should not succeed or do better than your dad. Or maybe you need to follow in his footsteps. Or maybe you were told that success meant that you would end up loveless. And so you might find that there are some sabotaging behaviors. I have noticed among my clients that some Every time they go out to have a successful event, they get into an argument with their husband, which kind of trashes their efforts. Or another client who, every time she is about to launch a project, one of her children has an emotional crisis or maybe gets sick. So these are ways in which we undermine ourselves. And we feel like, oh, well, that's a good reason and it's okay. But actually, it's not okay. It's just a sign that we are not dealing with the emotional wounds that we need to deal with. So you might choose things like tapping or hypnosis or mindset efforts or law of attraction plans. And this can work just so far. But I have found, as a psychosocial analyst and a psychosomatic healer, that if you do not release the emotions that are underneath, the fears, the guilt, that you're going to continue to sabotage yourself. For example, I had a client who she'd been grieving the loss of her husband for 20 years. And she went to see psychotherapists and psychologists, and she needed to release the emotions around that loss. But she was trying to be strong. She fought her feelings. Now, most people don't know how to release their feelings. They're afraid of being overwhelmed. They're afraid that they're going to just be flown away or float away on their emotions. They're terrified. Or maybe they don't even know how to cry. I had one client who it took all of her effort to get one little single tear out of her. It was a cause for celebration. The body, though, really needs that catharsis to release that energy, because otherwise the energy gets stuck in the body. And when it gets stuck in the body, it actually hurts your health. It affects your posture, it affects the flow of fluids through your body, and it can actually cause aging and damage. So when you're really living your purpose, when you are really stepping into your power, there's a whole different look in your face. Your eyes shine. Your voice is different. That's what I look for when I look at a person is, are they really, really living true to themselves? And if you would like to know more about that, if you would like to know how I could support you in your mission or finding out what your mission is, schedule a 15-minute introductory call with me. There's a link in the comments section. Find out how I work and what I charge and whether we're a match. So going back, the thing about releasing emotions is that we're taught by our culture to repress our emotions, to deny them. There's a huge social expectation that you learn to be mature, to be man-like or manly. Even if you're a woman, if you want to make it in the man's world, you have to learn to control those emotions. But what we don't realize as a culture is that emotions are essential to our well-being. Emotions are actually the way in which we make decisions. And if we repress them, if we repress the upsetting ones, the sorrowful ones, the fear ones, we're actually repressing all of them, including our ability to enjoy life. The other place in which we learn to hold back our emotions is in childhood. Maybe it wasn't safe for you to feel your emotions. Maybe it was dangerous. Or maybe your father gave you the impression that it wasn't manly, or you were being a wimp, or you're a baby, or a crybaby. And so you learn to control those emotions from a very, very early age. Not only that, we learn to control our whole bodies from an early age. We're sent off to school when we're barely 5 years old and sit in these desks and not move. And so a lot of us spend most of our time up in our heads. That was what happened to me for years. So another client who came to me to work with me, she was actually living her purpose. She was successful, but what she was doing was trashing her relationships. So real success is about balance, not just about being successful and making money, but also successful in love and successful in health. She came to me because her husband basically read her the riot act. She was being a workaholic. She was denying those emotional wounds that were holding her back. So we worked on the loss of her father, the loss of her first husband. And when the healing was allowed to unfold, she was able to move forward. Now she is an incredibly successful coach. Hi, thank you for joining. We're talking about life makeover. Jose! Oh, good tennis. Thank you for watching. And way back to you. So we're talking about a life makeover. Do you need a life makeover? And I'm not talking about skin deep makeovers like makeup makeovers or even bodybuilding, but connecting to your purpose and mission. And it's there. And when you don't, there is this pressure to do that. And then you have to tamp down your emotions in order to live the rest of your life, or you're going to feel uncomfortable. So I invite you to spend some time with yourself doing nothing and find out what shows up. Spend some time not eating, not watching TV, not playing computer games, not drinking, not taking drugs, just sitting with yourself and find out what shows up. If you're not ready to have a conversation with me, I'd like to invite you to do something else. And that is to join my Facebook group, which is called Live Your Brilliance. I'm going to be doing a 5-day Facebook challenge in a few weeks and inviting you for 5 days of training to find out how you can step into your brilliance, into your purpose and mission, and create a life changeover. So if you get into the group now, not only will you get all these cool videos, which are sort of impossible to find once they, go through, and on my website, maybe not my website, they're not even on my website, on my Facebook page, they disappear rather quickly. But in the Facebook group, you'll actually be able to find them. And I have some really cool ones posted up there right now. So it's in my comments section. Click on that, join the Facebook group. But if you're ready to have a conversation with me, if you would like to know how to do a life makeover, if you're feeling stuck, if you feel like you're spinning your wheels, if you feel like your life doesn't have meaning or purpose, if you are bored at your job or you're struggling with your coaching business, let's find out what's holding you back, what's sabotaging you, and get you moving forward. I'm going to check my notes one more time. Right. So why don't you allow your emotions? Besides the cultural training, we're afraid that we're going to get overwhelmed. Oh, I already talked to you about this. Never mind that. Look into the mirror. Hi, thank you for joining. Look into the mirror. Hi, Bruce. Thank you for watching. So we're talking about life changeovers and whether or not you need a life changeover in your life. So I invite you to look into the mirror and look at your eyes. Is there sadness or is there joy? Look at your body. Look in the mirror. Do you like your body or do you find yourself judging it? If you are not satisfied, maybe that's your inner brilliance telling you that you need to do something. Certainly it's your body telling you something. Or it might just be early childhood training in self-judgment. Let's find out what that is. So either have a conversation with me, or join my Facebook group, Live Your Brilliance, and join me in this 5-day life makeover challenge that is going to happen in a few weeks. Don't worry, I'll be posting there so you'll know about it. And in the meantime, enjoy the videos that are already posted there. I think that's pretty much... Okay, one more thing. Everything is pushing you towards fulfillment, especially age. As you get older, you start to worry, well, what was this life all about? I went to my 50th high school reunion a few years back, and I saw a lot of, quote, successful men who looked like deer in the headlights. They had that shocked look on their face about, well, what now? I mean, I've got the money, but I'm retired. What a word, retired. It sounds like, a vacuum cleaner that's been thrown in a dump heap, or a car that's been retired because it's no longer functional or useful. Let's think about your next chapter. If you want to change your life, if you want to step into your purpose, you need to start listening to yourself. And the first step is to look at yourself and see what your body is telling you. And then go ahead and join my Facebook group so that you can jump into that Facebook challenge. And if you're ready to find out more about what I do, let's have a call. The world needs you. Goodness knows the world needs all of us. And the more of us who step into our purpose and share our gifts, the better the world will be. We are kind of going through a crisis time, and astrologically, the pressure is huge right now for us to step into our purpose, to live our mission. So please, heed my call. Step into your brilliance. And if you need to do a life makeover, I'm here to support you. That's it for today. Have a great one. Bye.